Hello, and welcome to The Nation. You're joining me, Elane, Noor, Abdullah, right here on Bernama TV as we delve into the topic of development of mid-tier companies in Malaysia. Now, the Mid-Tier Companies Development Program, or MTCDP, was established back in 2014 to help local mid-tier companies, or what we call MTCs, in Malaysia to accelerate their export growth and to strengthen their core business functions. It is one of the government's high-impact initiatives in the Malaysia's development plan, aimed to accelerate the export growth of MTCs to be regional and global champions. Today, we have the pleasure of speaking to SHAHRULMIZA ZAKARIA, Deputy Director, Mid-Tier Customised Program Section from MATRADE. Hello and welcome to Shahrul. How are you doing today?
Yeah, good. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Elane, for inviting us today.
Thanks for joining us here right at the Bernama TV studio. Now, let's talk about MTCs, or what you call the mid-tier companies. What is the definition of mid-tier companies? Perhaps you can elaborate this for us.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Elane. I think the definition of mid-tier companies, we need to look at the national definition of SMEs, because mid-tier companies are the companies that are the grown of small and medium enterprises, or right now the government call it micro, small and medium enterprises, or MSMEs.
Right.
So the mid-tier companies are defined at according to their annual turnover, where for mid-tier companies, MTC's category, it is between the annual turnover between 50 million to 500 million ringgit Malaysia for manufacturing sector,
Right.
and for services sector is between 20 million ringgit to 500 million ringgit for services sector.
Right, so it's defined by their annual sales turnover, and it's also dependent on the sectors that they're working in. So that's how we define the MTCs. Now, perhaps let's talk about the significance of the mid-tier companies to the Malaysian economy. Why are we focusing on MTCs, or mid-tier companies?
Okay, according to the study done by the government and through MATRADE, we found out, this is the data way back before the pandemic. In 2018, we have a total of nearly 10,000 mid-tier companies in Malaysia, according to the number of business establishment in Malaysia. Even though it's about 10,000 out of nearly 1.2 million of all the business establishment in Malaysia, but their contribution to the economy is very significant, because they contributed nearly 40% to the Malaysian GDP, gross domestic product, and then employed about 16% of the total workforce in Malaysia. So I think looking at the numbers, they are the force to reckon with, even though they are bigger than from the SMEs. SMEs is about nearly 1 million in Malaysia. So that's why the government now starting to give more attention to these mid-tier companies, because they are big and they contributed a lot to the Malaysian economy.
So you're talking about the scale of their impact to the economy. We look at some of the things that MATRADE is doing. What did MATRADE do to assist MTCs in Malaysia? It's quite difficult, especially in the last 2 years with the COVID pandemic. Everybody's been affected. Nobody has been spared, let alone SMEs. But MTCs have a bigger role even to play. Perhaps you can elaborate a little bit in terms of the assistance provided by MATRADE.
Okay, for MATRADE, we are looking at the mid-tier companies, or MTCs, involved in the export sector.
Right.
As I mentioned to you earlier, we have about 10,000 roughly mid-tier companies in Malaysia, but not all of them are involved in export.
Right.
So the role of MATRADE as a national trade promotion agency or export promotion agency is to drive or to help more Malaysian companies to venture into the international market. And as you correctly said, everyone was affected during the pandemic. So our role is try to widen their market outreach, and through this program, we help each and every MTCs that join our program to grow their business and find new markets, or expanding their market into the new countries that they would like to enter. So we try to help them in terms of giving some advisory services and connectivity to the market, and do some trade promotion activities according to what they are targeting.
As it is, it's a really tough sort of venture, already trying to stabilize the market within the domestic market because, you know, of economic situations, and now we're only starting to reopen back. How difficult is it for these kind of MTCs to then focus on export market? Where should the strategy lie? You know, further build the domestic market or further concentrate? Because there's always a limit in funding, isn't there? So where do you sort of position that? What kind of advisory services or to MTCs at this point of time?
Okay, different MTCs have a different goal in terms of their business operation. Some of them are purely domestic oriented because they are really local champions or big companies in Malaysia, and you can see all those brand names on the street in Malaysia. Or
like
I can see groceries, food outlet, and in every sectors are all mid-tier companies.
Right.
But again, it depends on them. Some of them have also diversified in terms of to increase their revenue for their country for their companies. So that's where the role of MATRADE come in, and they are expanding their markets into especially to the regional area, because regional like ASEAN and also Northeast Asia, for example China, Taiwan, Korea, and Japan, for example, and also some of them are going even further far to Europe and also American market. So our role is to help them because, as I said just now, they are targeting different companies have targeted different markets. So our role is to provide, we call it a customized assistant in terms of helping them to develop export marketing plan. So each and every MTCs join our program will be assisted in terms of preparing their export marketing plan. It's similar like business plan for a business. So we help them in terms of develop export marketing plan to target a specific market or specific market segment, or maybe specific country or area of interest.
Are there opportunities out there, even in these difficult and challenging times, for our local businesses to venture out?
Yes, opportunities are plenty. I mean, during this difficult time, basically MATRADE has done, I can say, double our effort in terms of finding new opportunities, because we try to help these companies to, local business are not doing good, but so we try to compensate in terms of their annual earnings from the external market. So that's where we are helping them to find, for example, matching them with the new buyers, finding new opportunities. Even some of them basically, I can say, pivot their business in terms of looking at doing something that is highly needed by the markets. For example, like in the pandemic, the demand for PPV, for example, demand for PPE for medical devices are really increasing. So some of them are producing these products to cater to the demand international market.
So there are opportunities out there, and there are insights and information that's available. We'll take a short breather right now. When we come back, we'll speak a little bit more on the MTCDP. So stay tuned. We'll be right back after these messages. Hello, and welcome back on The Nation. You're still with me, Elane, Abdullah, right here on Bernama TV. Today, we're speaking to a very special guest. Muhammad SHAHRULMIZA ZAKARIA is the Deputy Director, Mid-Tier Customised Program Section for MATRADE. And we're delving into the topic of development of mid-tier companies in Malaysia. Now, Shahrul, we talked about MTCs, the definition of MTCs, manufacturing, services sector. They have all their categories and the kind of opportunities that are available for the export market should they wish to venture forth. And there's advisory services and expert insights that have been provided by MATRADE prior to sort of breaking into these markets, because there's a lot of money involved in trying to break into new markets. There's a lot of risks involved with regards to choosing who are your audiences and where are you going to be able to create that turnover in order for you to improve the profits of each company. So these risks are sort of mitigated with the ability to engage with agencies like MATRADE, who has done some groundwork on their behalf. So let's talk about this MTCDP, or what you call the Mid-Tier Companies Development Program. Can you explain what is MTCDP and what it does as a whole?
Okay. Mid-Tier Companies Development Program is a customized exporters development program by MATRADE for the mid-tier companies, or we call it MTCs, that are interested to venture into the export market. So basically, we help them because most of these MTCs have been exporting, and there are also a few of MTCs that haven't been exported yet. So we look at first and foremost, we have to identify them and get their interest for them to participate in this program, because they have to be involved, because the program is for them to develop their business venture. And then from that program, we undertake a few activities to understand their nature of business, what are their current strategies in terms of which market that they are targeting, what products they are promoting. And from there, MATRADE together with our expert in markets and industrial sector, we help them to generate, or to come out with the export marketing plan for them to undertake, especially to venture into that particular market. So that's where we are. So in between that program, we also help in terms of their capacity building. So we help their leadership in terms of building the right mindset. Even we help the mid-tier companies to develop their international marketing team, because when you want to go global, you have to be prepared, in terms of your manpower and people who are ready to, just in case the demand are really coming and such. So there are people who are ready to answer the inquiries, to able to be talking to the buyers from all over the world. So those are the capacity building that we also undertake. At the same time, we help. There are also some MTCs that need some assistance in terms of financing, technology development. So those are the components that we help. But it depends on the companies itself. I mean, what assistance you need to do. And the most important thing, we create export marketing plan for you, and then you have prepare your mindset and also readiness to go global.
Yeah, because you did mention with regards to market intelligence, which is really key in terms of being able to decide where, what you're going to do, who you're going to address, and especially in a digitalized world, opportunities abound. Buyers have a lot of options. Why choose this specific vendor or this specific supplier? Who would you want to, how reliable and how credible these options are versus other available countries that are also vying for that same market. So let's talk about the next topic of demographic. So can you elaborate the demographics of the mid-tier companies or MTCs that has been groomed under MATRADE? What sectors are they involved in? How does that get decided in terms of criteria for qualification?
Okay. So far, MATRADE has successfully groomed 275 MTCs in this MTCDP. So we started way back in 2014 with 44 companies, and then every year roughly we took about 50 companies every year. So we take it in batch. So this program runs about 9 months. So after the 9 months, then we call it a ramp up program, where we help them to continue to expand their markets and further assistance, and we encourage them to join export marketing program under MATRADE in other programs, and also encourage them to connect with our 46 trade officers overseas. So basically, the composition of these 275 MTCs are basically 60% of them roughly in the manufacturing sector in various segments, and 38 and the remaining are from the services sector or non-manufacturing sector. So in terms of the major sectors that are involved, which is it augurs with our industry development in Malaysia, where Malaysia right now are strong in electrical electronics or E&E. About 19% of them are in E&E sectors, and then the next one will be F&B, food and beverages, processed food beverages, even including agro-based product, around 17%, and then followed by building and construction 10%, and also automotive 8%. And the others are in the services sector. We have people in IT services, telecommunication, even consulting services, architecture services. There are a few of them.
So the next question I have is, what are the key achievements of this MTCDP?
The key achievements, as of 2020, despite the challenge posed by the pandemic, the cumulative, because we measure their success according to the increase of exports for every year. So the cumulative export revenue for 275 these MTCs reached around 15.5 billion ringgit Malaysia. So it's an increase of 4%. This is very interesting because I think everyone knows that many businesses are not doing well, but for mid-tier companies, they are surprisingly they are doing quite well in terms of the export market in 2020, the year of pandemic. And another key indicators, we have exceeded the target set by the government because in 11 Malaysia plan, we are targeting around 3.8 billion ringgit Malaysia increase in export, because most of these MTCs have already exporting. So we measure their success before and after
By the increase.
by the increase in export.
Yep.
So the target of 3.8 billion, so we managed to get 5.5 billion ringgit Malaysia as of
Well
year
done.
2020. So it is a really a successful program, and most of the, I can say 95% of the SMEs have the increase in export, either small or big quantum. So we are happy to see that the performance, because we tried our best to help each and every MTCs to be successful.
That's fantastic. And we're breaking into markets, we're exploring new markets,
Yep.
we are creating new opportunities for these companies to be able to expand. We'll take another short commercial break right now. When we
Okay.
come back, we'll come back with questions with regards to, despite the MTC's achievements, the pandemic poses a different challenge, and we'll address that shortly right after these messages. Stay tuned, we'll be right back. Hello, you're still with me on The Nation. Elane, Noor, Abdullah. I'm speaking to SHAHRULMIZA, ZAKARIA, Deputy Director, Mid-Tier Customised Program Section for MATRADE, on the topic of development of mid-tier companies in Malaysia. Shahrul, we've gone through quite a lot of questions earlier. I think we've gained some clarification with regards to MTCs, its impact on domestic economy, and its potential to export to global markets in order for us to be able to gain more avenues for bringing more profit and income. Now, and we've had some achievements. You've said that we've increased the revenue that's brought in by MTCs. But despite the achievements by these MTCs, we know that all businesses have been badly impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, what is the impact to Malaysian MTCs, if you have some data or statistics, and what are the issues and challenges faced by MTCs during the pandemic, and how has MATRADE been able to facilitate these issues?
Okay, Ms. Elane. Yeah, definitely we have to accept the fact that COVID-19 has impacted everyone, either you are small or medium or life-size companies.
Right.
But for MTCs, yeah, they are also having an issues, because their activities in the international market is purely become one of the suppliers. So the impact in terms of the global supply chain disruption has really given a negative impact to them. And even with the MCOs, it's not just in Malaysia but also in other countries, because everyone shut down and everyone stays home during one period of time.
Yep.
So everyone have to stop their production, and those are I can say the difficult time for these MTCs. So in terms of supply chain development, supply chain disruption, and then also it will also involve in terms of the logistic cost.
Yes.
Because the costs are skyrocketed.
Yep.
Even shortage of manpower.
Yep.
And also some of them in the services sector, their projects, because of the MCO, everybody shut down, delays in the undertaking the project. So those are the major issues faced by the mid-tier companies in Malaysia. But despite that, some of them are really, I can say, quite smart in terms of pivoting their businesses to venture into new areas. For example, I can give one MTCs successfully doing digitalization, because previously they are a chain of company that have a physical outlets all over Malaysia, and they immediately embark on digitalization and go into the online ordering to deliver their products and services.
Yep.
And they are doing very well, because as I mentioned to you that they have the capital to do it and they have the resources, so they quickly embark into digitalization. So that's where it proves that digitalization will give a good impact in terms of sustaining your business. And another MTCs, they are a big manufacturer in Malaysia, and then they are doing a different product, but now they're looking at the high demand in terms of medical devices or medical products. So they quickly invested to develop and to build, or to manufacture new products, medical device, such as PPE, face masks, sanitizing equipment, and they're doing very well because they have the machine and they have the manpower. So they just okay, let's do R&D quickly and do new things, and they are successful basically in maintaining, to sustain their business. So that's how agile they are in terms of And another example is the MTC adopting automation,
Right.
because as I mentioned earlier, the problem of shortage of the labor. So to overcome the shortage of labor, automation is the key, and the government really encourage SMEs and mid-tier companies to adopt automation, especially in this industry 4.0, so that you will reduce dependency on the labor, and at the same time automation will increase the efficiency and also increase the productivity and the quality of the products.
And the stability as well.
Right,
it looks like COVID-19 has helped accelerate the global community into the future. Now, what is the future plan of MATRADE to assist these MTCs in their internationalization agenda?
Okay, in line with this 12 Malaysia plan by the government, MATRADE specifically in this MTCDP, we call it MTCDP 2.0, the second phase of the Mid-Tier Companies Development Program, we are looking at the new elements in terms of the global competitiveness. So a few of them are basically digitalization, as example I mentioned just now, sustainability, and also in the Industry 4.0. So these are the three main things that the government and even MATRADE think that is really important for the companies, especially MTCs, to increase their competitiveness and to promote them in the international market. For, we call it a business recovery, we embark on two major areas, which is global branding activities and also supply chain development. Because of the supply chain disruption, then suddenly we saw that the shift of the big companies all around the world, they are starting to look beyond one source of suppliers, we call it. Then that's where we took the opportunity to promote mid-tier companies to be a reliable suppliers for manufacturers in the nearby region, as well as the major producing countries such as China, America, and Europe. So we are doing that in terms of internationalization agenda.
Backup and redundancies have become very important right now. Now, on my last question, we have about 2 minutes left. What are the hopes of MATRADE and the government to MTCs in Malaysia?
So we hope that mid-tier companies in Malaysia will be, instrumental in driving Malaysian economic recovery, especially this post-pandemic. At the same time, again, in line with the 12 Malaysia plan, the spirit of for them to be, more inclusive in terms of the socio-economic development, in terms of the shared prosperity, because we realize that these mid-tier companies, they are the anchor to the MSMEs, and at least I can say roughly one mid-tier companies will have at least 50 SMEs as their suppliers or in their supply chain. So if we help these mid-tier companies indirectly, we also help the MSMEs in terms of bouncing back, and also indirectly will help the government, the country to build the economy. And this also in line with policies such as new industrial master plan and new investment aspiration under MITI. So that's where we are targeting. We align our strategies in terms of developing MTCs for the future.
We really look forward to further policies, further plans, further assistance to be able to strengthen our businesses so that we remain competitive and we can bounce back stronger with more resilience in order for us to be able to face future challenges. Thank you so much for sharing your information and your insights, and we really encourage any businesses out there looking for new opportunities to reach out to MATRADE. You have all the available information, all the available assistance in order for us to be able to become stronger as a nation. Thank you so much for joining us. We were speaking to, of course, our special guest, Muhammad SHAHRULMIZA ZAKARIA, Deputy Director, Mid-Tier Customised Program Section for MATRADE. We were speaking about the topic of development of mid-tier companies in Malaysia. Now, MTCs represent a key driving force behind the Malaysian economy. They are, of course, as mentioned earlier, approximately 10,000 MTCs, and despite being just 2% of all Malaysian firms, collectively contribute to the country's GDP. MATRADE is committed to the continued success of MTCs towards accelerating the export growth and expansion into new markets. Thanks for staying with me till the end of this session of The Nation right here on Bernama TV. I'm Elane. Bye for now.